Hello everyone. As always, I'm Adam and this is Little History, and we are back with Expeditions Viking. For a couple of reasons we've not been able to stream it over the last couple of weeks. But we are going to wrap up this series today because we have a lot of games coming up in the next few weeks that I'll take some time to get ready for. Namely, Plague Tale Requiem comes out in just over 2 weeks. And so I'll need some time to get ready for that. So I want to have a couple of weeks of more casual stuff with our other ongoing series while I'm devoting the research efforts to that. And so we are wrapping up Expeditions Viking today. And so today we're going to also have a big long summary of how this game does history and of the early Viking Age at large. Obviously, this is not going to be the last time we are touching on the Viking Age in this channel. It's what my graduate degree is in. Come on. We'll be back with God of War before you know it. So, we do want to just branch out into some other stuff, take a break while we get a chance. As always though, this stream will be archived on Twitch for 2 weeks and on YouTube after that. And so if you enjoy this, do make sure that you are followed to the stream. And if you really enjoy this, consider either subscribing on Twitch or supporting me on Patreon in order to help make sure this sort of content keeps on happening. We stream a wide variety of historical games, bringing you the best academic methods, and sometimes the most coherent knowledge, usually the most coherent rambling, to video games and to how they do history. So, without further ado, let's hop into Expeditions Viking. Last time we left off, we had finished all of this. Right? Last time we had finished up Denmark, gone Grave Mount robbing, done some other stuff. And then we are ready. Hello, the Myth Nerd. Welcome, welcome. It's good to see you. And Majora, no worries. When you get a chance, that's awesome. But no worries at all. So, looks like we are trying to get over to England. For who knows how long. Whoa. One day. Oh, it's a rough day on the sea. Thor races across the sky and his chariot whips the waves into a frenzy. As the storm reaches a crescendo, lightning strikes the mast of Aaaaaand, our duck boat, or our rubber ducky, I should say. Well, and now we're in Monday. I actually like this. They have slightly accelerated the length of the voyage. Our best estimate is that on good weather all the way through, it is 4 days long. But, you know, at least they're not doing the usual, oh, they're so far away. No, it's a few days. It's a couple of days across the North Sea, even in this period. How's labor? 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good. Yeah, we'll do that. And now we land on Northumbria. So, this game is set in the 790s? Yes, the same developers as Expeditions Conquistador. And also the same developers as Expedition Rome, which I've heard much more mixed things about. This is our Viking Age one, and so it is set in the extremely early Viking Age, in the end of the 8th century. And being the end of the 8th century, a lot of the things that we will come to expect about Viking Age raids are not yet quite true. become for riches, I'd say we found it. Look at that fortress. How was navigational technology in this time and region? Excellent question. So, firstly, I think the most important thing with the navigational technology is that in about the middle of the 8th century in Scandinavia, we start to have records and finds of boats with sails. Before this period, we don't. For instance, the Salme ship burials on the island of Saaremaa in Estonia don't actually have sails. These are big ships with lots of warriors buried in them. But they don't have post holes for a mast. So they seem to have been entirely powered by rowing. And these date to about 750. Shortly thereafter, sails show up everywhere. So by the early 9th century Oseberg ship burial, you absolutely, that one has sails, and pretty much everyone younger than that has sails. So that's obviously a big deal. The distance you can travel, realistically, gets much bigger the moment you introduce a sail into the equation. And once you're able to reliably control the ship using that, it does a lot in crossing open water. Thing number 2. They are, in this period, able to fairly easily, based on practical experience, calculate latitude. Right? I mean, oh, hey. It's not a fortress, I think. It has an air of sanctity about it. Could be wrong, but... Uh-huh. Alright. Do I want to know why they're doing a Scarborough Fair reference? Chilfrith. Wildolf. Okay, we'll talk to them in a bit. Let's see, in terms of, like, navigational tech, yeah, they're able to calculate latitude quite reliably, which is a big deal, because that makes it fairly easy to, you know, go back and forth in a straight line. For instance, from Ribe to York. It's basically a straight line. You just go straight over to hit the coast of England, then you start going south. Alternatively, you know, you can go somewhat farther north. You can go from Bergen, and you'll hit the right. Yeah, if you go from Bergen, I think you hit the Shetlands. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close. And if you're going from Nidaros, like the modern Trondheim, you're going to hit northern Iceland. And there's just these straight lines that make crossing open water really easily. That being said, there's also a lot of island hopping going on. And so the solution for this island hopping is have birds with you. One of our most famous people, a couple generations after this, but, you know, if you've seen the Vikings TV show, you've met him, Hrafnafloki is so named because, you know, let's assume he was historical and actually did the things he was said to. Kind of a question mark. Assuming he is not just Noah but Norse, the way he made it to Iceland was when he left, he took ravens with him. And ravens are innately going to be able to search for land, as most birds can. And so, you know, when he releases the bird and it flies forward, well, that means you're close to land. You can just follow the bird. When in doubt, you just follow the bird. And since ravens are smart enough to be trained, there's a lot you can actually do with them as navigational birds. Similarly, though, you could just follow eider ducks or any of the rest of it, any other seabird, to get over to land for the island hopping. It's not as hard as it perhaps seems. So yeah, that's it for, I think, this period, right, later on we're going to start getting lodestones and other more sophisticated materials. But I think in this earliest period, it's pretty limited. So that's kind of what we're looking with. Anyway, since we are in... You know what? No, actually, I'm not going to forgive them for this. In the previous cutscene, we talked about, or they were like, oh yes, here is our thing, this fortress that's made out of stone and is super well developed and stuff. And then Rusk was just like, wait, I think that's not a fortress. With the obvious statement that this is a monastery. The group who intercepts you above the cliffs display every indication of the classic angry mob, down to the prevalence of pitchforks. Middle-aged man, hastily dressed in cheap high jerkin and wielding an actual spear, hails you in a language that tickles something at the back of your mind but doesn't quite translate into meaning. Chat, which are we gonna do? Are we terrible people, or are we slightly less terrible people? In the meantime, right, okay, you got a church up on the cliffs, and we don't know that it's a church. For a lot of people, I think I understand this. Mostly some of it. Oh. Fighting is good. Well, we'll fight them next time. Yo. Where are we at? Sorry, let me relocate that thought. Oh yeah, the church. So, on some level, it is obviously reasonable that people who, perhaps, as with Ketil's case, have never left Skjern, as they just said. Uh-huh. Goodbye! Maybe it's Whitby / Dreanesha? Huh? Entirely possible. Oh, let's see who they're asking. Come on. Thank you. I will say, I appreciate that this guy's haircut is completely rubbish. Anyway. Right. It's reasonable that people may not actually know, if they've never traveled. This is a period where Christianity is still only just making inroads into Scandinavia, and so a lack of knowledge about Christianity and its buildings is, on some level, plausible. However, it is something that is very popular to say in the Viking Age. Oh yes, they are this pagan bastion who had no idea about Christianity. And so they raided indiscriminately with no idea of what they were doing. That's not true. Like, there's almost no way that's true. There are Norse people traveling in England as early as the 780s, and the raid at Lindisfarne in 793 has every indication of being done because they knew exactly what to find. And, you know, Charlemagne is making significant efforts to send missionaries into Scandinavia, though he's a bit tied up with a bunch of other wars at the moment. So that's kind of his go-to, right, there's a lot of awareness of Christianity. Saint Ansgar in the 18s is going to come over there, into Scandinavia and found a Christian settlement in Birka. In 815, a Danish petty king named Harald Klak is going to convert to Christianity and then immediately go apostate, but that's neither here nor there. So, even in this very, very early period, it would be as reasonable that someone at least has some idea of what a church is, instead of this true, we don't know, it's purely random that we decided to grab this easily undefended place with lots of money. Sure.
Dominus Vobiscum, stranger. I am Brother Morcant. I have given my life to studying the ineffable beauty of God's work.
The Lord be with you all, by the way, is what the Latin is there. Dominus Vobiscum. Scared of being well situated along the trade routes to Saxony, you've had enough contact with your southern neighbors to learn that language. Tell me, Flafford Wimundur. What did you call me? Flafford. It means master of the house. Oh, the convent. It's the house of God. Morcant is a Brythonic name. Good catch. I think would be relatively unusual that in Yorkshire we would have someone of Brythonic name in this period, but also it's not out of the question. So, the background here to Brythonic means the Roman and pre-Roman Celtic-speaking peoples who lived in Britannia. With the migration period, waves of immigration in the 4th and 5th centuries, there's probably significant displacement, and while there is plenty of research suggesting, in the 8th and 9th, like 7th, 8th, 9th centuries, that there is this hybridization going on, certainly at least among the elite, Germanic language with relatively few loanwords, still a lot of loanwords, but relatively few. Germanic language, right? So Germanic social structure, Germanic language, and increasingly genetic evidence is suggesting, well, with a lot of variation, but a fairly high average degree of sort of Scandinavian and North Germanic or Germanic coastline ancestry. Right, Bede calls this the Angles and the Saxons and the Jutes, and Gildas talks about the big, in 410, Vortigern invites Hengist and Horsa to do stuff. None of that's probably correct. There's probably a long period of migration that is sometimes violent and sometimes not, but regardless, it results in probably significant displacement and Brythonic names becoming exceedingly unusual by the end of the 8th century in England. So, they seem to be doing this. So is this monk from Strathclyde or somewhere else in the Old North, or is he Welsh or Cornishman? Yeah. He could be from Strathclyde. That would be entirely possible. But I know nothing. This is my first playthrough of the game. We are reacting live, so that would just be entire speculation. What is the purpose of our journey? We are here to seek allies in our struggles at home, show discovery and trade. We have come for gold and silver. Very good, let's bring you to Malcolin the Gereva. The Reeve, by the way. Reva, in modern English is Reeve, so... that. Money. Money, money, money. We'll burn down the money later. Right, we'll have plenty of time to change our minds and burn them all down. I just want to see how they're doing political organization first before we burn it all down for money. A cow. Hello, cow. Ooh, there was something there. Uh-huh. My name is Malcolm. I am the Gareva of this town. No, sorry, we've had some visitors from your lands before. Uh-oh. You're given to understand that visitors used here as a euphemism for a range of words along the lines of barbarian, savage, murderer, raider, plunderer, and so on. Ship very much like yours came to a small island south of here. The Port Gareva of the place mistook them for merchants and directed him towards Ao, for which, York, before they left they killed him and his men. Fair enough. I have to warn you, as Gareva of this town answered to King Osred. If ever befalls us here, I'm sure the king will hear of it. Hello, Blues. Thank you. Alright, well, let's beat up some bandits. Let's see if they speak English. Ooh, hello, Herb. Herb. Which herb is this? Mayweed. Amazing. Incredible. After wiping away the grave, you find the treasure to be strangely familiar. A small handful of brooches, arm rings, and carved pins bearing your strings like the images of Sleipnir. So, Bracteates? The way in the woods. I appreciate that they swapped around too. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, fair enough. Probably should have predicted that that was going to happen. What an odd trap. Did they actually just, like, punji stick me? Well, that's actually quite bad. As it turns out, that could be potentially very bad. I guess we'll just, like, run in awkwardly. Because that should... that should at least protect me from some of the surrounding people. Because you're not able to get close enough to do anything. So... We'll do that to hide our people. And then... this. His name looks funky to me, it's just ever so slightly off from Maglacunas, yet another Brythonic name, as Malquin. Yep. Ooh, didn't die. Nice. Oh, pushed me into the fire. That's awkward. Okay, now that's dead.
I failed you.
Unfortunate. Extremely unfortunate. What? You're in cover? How? Fine. I mean, this dude, I think that's a slight overstatement to say that they are... Right, to call them the Remnant, to call them the pre-English, right, because pre-Anglian I would be more on board with, rather than necessarily pre-English, because, like I said, there's been some scholarship that has really argued recently, for there being, sort of reconsideration of Englishness to be a hybrid identity. And to that end, right, it becomes fairly important to treat them as, the Germanic populations as just one of the components of Englishness, with the Celtic ones being an equally valuable, albeit somewhat substrate, population. So, no, that does kind of matter. Anyway, after a bit of an oopsie walking into a fire, we seem to be okay. I have this new area. It's a bit odd to see bow being used by Vikings in battle, right? Or are you wrong about this? Sort of. Sort of. Right, this is a problem where our evidence is not particularly good, because, we definitely have, have me banned for Overwork and for Perth. Which is in Yorkshire, Perth is north. Hooray. Anyway. Let's actually switch over to another tab while we're sitting in preparation. Switching over to this tab, Birka, BJ, 581, Burial, Goods. Yes, yes. Medievalists, I don't care about most of the detail, I just care about what was actually in the... No. Are we not going to get that? Fine. Fine. I'm just trying to get the BJ581 burials because I want to see if arrowheads are included in this. Let's see. Grave goods. Sword, axe, spear, armor-piercing arrows. That's what I was looking for. So, right, unfortunately bows typically don't survive, but what we seem to be basing it off of are finds like this. This is the BJ581 burial, which this team, led by Charlotte Hedenstjerne Jonsson, and including Neil Price, identified as a biologically female skeleton inhabitant, included arrows. And so strongly suggests that part of a professional warrior kit is a bow. That being said, our saga evidence tends to not include bows, and they actually seem to be extremely rare in battles in, say, 13th century Iceland. Where at one major battle, only one person actually had a bow, and he wasn't a very good shot. But in the Viking Age itself, it seems that bows are maybe not the most common, but also by no means a rare grave good. Oops. What did we do?
The Frankish god. Estrid mentioned that they worship him.
What
here.
did we do? We broke it.
This has become a problem. There's no love lost between our gods and theirs.
You think the Franks might try to interfere with our activities here?
Exactly. We may have to make an example or two if they get bold.
Question mark? The idea that there's no love lost between the Norse gods and Christ, is not quite right. What? Alvina? No, you're talking. Take your axes and furs somewhere else. Annoying. How annoying. Oh, I am in the wrong page. That was my bad. I clicked over on one thing but not the other. Don't worry, nothing important happened. Just someone told me to fuck off and that was it. I realized as you said something. This stone looks like it stood here forever. Strange markings are chiseled across its surface. Some look like the shapes of animals or plants. Most are completely incomprehensible. I've seen stones like this before. My teacher once claimed they were erected by the Druids centuries ago. Huh. Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting to have to deal with Druids today, so I am somewhat unprepared. they are not straightforward. Like, our source for Druids in an English context is Caesar. We don't trust Caesar. Right, he describes them in De Bello Gallico. And so, yeah, says that they exist and have a very many years of study, and are otherwise generally annoying. They're for the most part just annoying. Oscar! Wait. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, I'm sure this will be fine. Nothing bad can happen here. This is a convent of the Augustinian order. The women here dedicate their lives to the rule of St. Augustine. Looks wealthy. No. I don't want to burn the gate down yet. Honestly. We decide to be nice to this town, we'll be mean to the next town. They're the next town. It'll be fine. Ooh. Hello. Please give me the poppies. Memory serves, Norse gods and Christian god were viewed by some around the period of Christianization as different classes of beings, both of which you might need to honor at different times. Not quite. Not different classes. More that they're both acceptable options. So the case you are thinking of is found in Olaf's saga Tryggvasonar. And tells of someone who converted to Christianity in the court of Olafur, except for when a storm came up at sea, in which case he prayed to Thor. This seems more like what I would describe as an insurance policy. Get him to burn his attack action first. Well, I mean, I roughed him up by stabbing him in the face with an arrow. I'm not sure that was quite what was intended, but it worked.
You just realized you're outclassed, didn't you?
battles. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, right, the different classes of being thing. The different classes of being, right, it seems more likely, right, that there is an understanding that these are different gods, but that would be kind of how I'd sum it up. These are different gods, but them being different does not preclude them. Okay, fine. Ow. Where'd that sentence go? That sentence disconnected halfway through, as usual. They are different gods, but that doesn't preclude you from interacting with one or the other, as it is convenient. Right? So, don't treat them as, like, two fundamentally different classes of beings. They're very much, it's a very contingent thing, whether or not they are actually substantively different. So, yeah. There is some research that suggests, right, that they were seen as, right, like, oh, you could totally just wrap Christ into, into the Norse pantheon and it would be seen as fine. I also don't think that's true. I think pretty early there's probably an understanding that they are at least somewhat different. But somewhat different does not necessarily mean incompatible or truly unable to be worked with. Huh. I think my guy's bugged. Look at him go. Look at his shield. And his other shield. This is a known not how this works. You don't run around with two shields. That's not how that works. The way, will return soon. There's an old shadow bringing death in its wake, drawn to those cursed jewels at the time. Uh-huh. She thinks our jewelry is cursed. I went north along the coast. That's all I know. Well then. Perfect. Keep an eye out for more clues as to my father's travels. Hurrah. I think that's it. I think that is all we have to do up here. Unless there's something in here to be done. But yes. They did mention, that, oh, these are part of the Augustinian rule. The convent, yeah. The convent should not be Augustinian at this point because we are early. We are extremely early for the full Augustinian order. But the Augustine in question, right, the Saint Augustine that they're referring to, is Augustine of Kent, who was one of the earliest missionary forces, and the founder of the... Oh yeah, I can actually go in here. The founder of the Christian community at Canterbury, which is why Canterbury is the Archdiocese of England. He's also African, right? Dr. Mario Rembrandt Ohm has done a lot of work with this, and he's described as being African. not just of Mediterranean origin, but no. The English sources are very clear that he's African. And so, right, we get this lovely image of, she suggests he's from, that he was from modern Sudan, but hooray. That was exciting. Oh, duh, wait, no, you're right, it's from Augustine of Hippo. Right, the Augustinian rule is Augustine of Hippo, but it's brought to England by Augustine of Canterbury. Sorry, there are too many St. Augustines around. So, the Augustinian rule is by the Tunisian Augustine of Hippo, noted man with opinions. This one, but Augustine of Canterbury is a major, missionary force who is from Sudan, right? In either case, right, early Christianity is deeply invested in, you know, Africa. Hello. We'll spot this, and then go. But anyway, right, lots of... Dr. Rembrandt Ulm has, talked about this a fair amount, and really, I think quite persuasively, has made some arguments for a very African, origin, in many ways, to Old English traditions. Dang it. That's what I was hoping would not happen. I was really hoping... Yeah, there we go. Then that lets me get you out of the way. So I can get you... Oh, I can't go through there. Heck. Back up. Get out of the way. Perfect. Full charge. Beautiful. You can also then full charge. Go all the way in, and then go. So, where's that thought going? Oh yeah, riddles. Very famous part of the Old English tradition is the riddle. But, as it turns out, that riddle tradition is probably brought by Augustine of Canterbury, and so therefore is part of the same African tradition that is really showing a lot of the entanglements of this period. Really? I got crit? Jerk. But yes, isn't there a legend? It's not really a legend. It's so much as it is just what the life of Gregory of Tours said, or of Gregory the Great says. Right, the deeds of Gregory the Great just say that he that Gregory the Great met some enslaved Angles in Rome. Is it Beat who says that? I was sure it was the Vita. I thought it was the Vita that said it, but you may be right that it's Beat. I'm rusty on Old English. I haven't done it professionally in a couple years, so yeah, if you're confident that that's Speed, I will take your word for it. Regardless, the Pope in question is Gregory the Great. Supposedly, in Rome, meets a couple of enslaved Angles, and goes like, well, huh. There's this whole land that has now not been converted to Christianity again. We should fix that. And sends St. Augustine and a couple others over to England. And Augustine has the most success converting the King of Kent in the process. Oh, I didn't raid their bodies. That's dumb of me. Gotta loot the bodies. This is a video game after all. There are rules about these things. I mean, at least some of them might occasionally carry nice things. No? No? No. Tragic. Not a single one of them carried something useful. Now where is the end of this? There's the fence, there's the chieftain's house. There we go. B claims Gregory essentially decided the Angles were pretty and therefore should get a mission. Yeah, okay. Thank you for finding the reference. It is Bede, not the Vita. He still goes, wow, look at all these people that are not converted. We should fix that. Perfect. We did the thing. Non-Angli said Angeli. Amazing. Not angles, but angels. Thereby proving that they were both his angles and his devils. Or something. Campaign map! Let's go! So, I think we have two directions we can go. We can either go north, or we could not do that. North into Pictland, or south into Northumbria. Which is a little bit silly, because I'm not sure why we didn't go to Orkney first. Like, we just kind of showed up somewhere, instead of starting in Orkney and working our way down the coast. That's fine, though. Beach Village, Scarborough, Overwich. That's about it. There's Perth. Of Pictavia? No, shouldn't that be Strathclyde? Pictland would be interesting to contrast with the AC Valhalla. I concur. With the slight note of That's a long ways away. And we just simply won't have time to do all of it. Everyone's fatigued, everyone's in trouble. This is the first chance we had had to do anything. Well, that's alright. Let's grab the... Let's just do that, I guess. I mean, Jorvik will also be interesting to contrast with AC Valhalla. Because there's a lot of time in Jorvik / Overwitch / Wow, these guys are actually quite tough. Well, okay. Scratch that. One of them is quite tough. I don't suppose Johnny's in chat. What? You're on cover? Exactly, Jorvik / Overwitch / Efrach / Eberachum / York. Also known as the Fun History Town. I guess we'll defend there. We'll anticipate opening here. Tuck ourselves behind. We will, if we can anticipate opening, we want to anticipate opening. No, that's a reckless strike. No, none of those are right. So then you'll play back. And you'll roll up here and can also hide. Perfect. We'll see if anyone walks in. Well, that was dumb of you. See, that was an extremely bad idea. Late 790s, the exact... The exact number, or the exact date is not entirely obvious, but late 790s. Bonk. Hopefully this will break your cover. It does not break your cover. Okay. That's fine.
Thanks.
And then we just kind of slow walk in. I forgot you existed.
That's right. I see the fear in your eyes.
Huh. We're just trying to do that. An ice cold take. Alright. Channel point redemptions, chat. A nice way to cool off. Just gonna run away, back into cover, and then probably knock. Didn't drop who I expected you to. That's fine. Like, I was sure you were going to try and ruin my day worse than that. Oswald is... Oh no, they said Oz...
Commemorated in verse.
They said Osred was king, right? You can back up, you can go in. Charge. Since he's stunned, that should be a guaranteed hit. Perfect. And then we shoot him at point blank range. Beautiful. Beautiful.
I'll help.
So the ice cold take here is, of course, around megaliths. Because the reason why I'd asked if Johnny was here is because we have these beautiful, beautiful, completely nonsensical megaliths. Just hanging out. Accomplishing nothing. They're just kind of present.
I'm sorry.
What a shot!
I can't go on.
What an insane shot that was. Bill.
Shit! Let me take a look.
Ha! Very good.
So, anyway, let's finish this ice cold take with megaliths. The megaliths we are seeing are, of course, frankly ridiculous. As far as I know, there's, like, firstly, no megaliths of this size in Northumbria. Don't quote me on that 100%, but, you know, I feel reasonably good suggesting that. Oh my god. You're annoying me so much. Hello. Yes, I'm gonna break your interrupt. And that's gonna hurt. Because you're a jerk. And my people have no chance of
Get out
blocking.
of my way, honey.
My people have no chance of blocking whatsoever. Can I make that shot? Come on. How is that in cover? I mean, I know my people are tired and that's making them play badly, but come on. This is just needless. I might drop a bunch of people because of this. Well, just redoing after a while what's going on. Not a lot, actually. We are mostly losing in what is, by all accounts, a very easy fight. Like, this should not be difficult, except that my people are just missing everything they try and do. So... you're having to witness that. That's pretty much it, though. That's pretty much all that's happening. That one archer was just really ruining our day, though. Moderate fracture on her head. Well, that's not great. Well, we gotta do some medicine time. Heal. Yes? Accept. And then we heal again. And we accept that. And then someone else has the ability to do heals, right? Heal. You. And we accept that. And then we have good hunting, right? Guarding, 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 guarding. We'll try and preserve some stuff. We'll try and preserve some more stuff. Oh, what? It didn't let me do it? There we go. And then... cooking, and... we'll do that. Perfect. Uh-huh. Aww. Aww. Adorable. Not surprising, but adorable. And then we're going to talk about the god, the way the king... Wait, we haven't even met our king. It seems more peaceful, I think. More ordered. Alright, well that's a take. Let's finish talking about the... I need to finish talking about the megaliths, and then we'll switch over to this, because this is also extremely cool. So, in that fight there were megaliths, Neolithic stone structures, specifically, in this case, vaguely forming something that is reminiscent of Stonehenge. That's a problem. That's kind of a big problem, because, yeah, I'm not sure, I don't think there are any of anywhere near that size of this size, actually, in Yorkshire. And second, what? Like, why would they be here? Why is this a thing? It's part of this idea of making England seem old and long inhabited, I think. But it's not really sensible that that's a campsite. I'm not really sure, like, what benefit it offers as a campsite. to encourage people to be there. It's just kind of weird and providing interesting cover for gameplay reasons. And with this, it seems more peaceful, I think, more ordered. No? Might I suggest no? Because Northumbria is, well, in a period of decline here. In the turn of the 9th century, Northumbria is probably the weakest of the 4 major kingdoms, those being Wessex, Mercia, East Anglia, and Northumbria. I would be tempted to say that it's kind of a run between Northumbria and East Anglia as to which is weaker, but we're coming down from the period of Mercian supremacy, and Wessex is starting its rise. It'll take a while, but Northumbria is not stable at this point, and there is constantly skirmishing with the other kingdoms. There will be a succession crisis by the 860s, a few generations after this, but even then, there is constant raiding, both with Strathclyde and Pictland in the north, and with Mercia and East Anglia in the south. There is constant infighting among the local lords, lots of instability and turnover in the Regency, and generally, it's not actually particularly different from what Norse society in this period looks like. Like, it's politically not actually that different. Christianity makes a little bit of an impact in that it provides an alternative power structure that can be contiguous even when political authority isn't, or secular political authority isn't, but they're all so deeply intertwined, with bishops being diplomats, warriors, leaders of men, and religious figures, that even then, I'm unpersuaded that actually particularly makes a difference. Apparently Orcboy59 liked that because, thank you for the follow just now. Peace and tyranny become difficult to tell apart from the outside. Uh-huh. Aw. Adorable. And everyone... Perfect. You're healthy. That's been improved. That's been improved. Perfect. That makes a big deal, because reducing those is important, because if things deteriorate too far, they do die. And we want to make sure people don't die. Alright. A spicy take. Wow. Let's do... The problem is I want both of their takes on things. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh gosh, guys! Guys. Stop doing this all at one go. You make it needlessly difficult. So we have, in order, a spicy take, an ice cold take, a nitpick, and a compliment. In other words, a controversial interpretation about either this historical period or this game. Another one that I think is so common knowledge and or bad that it is barely worth speaking out loud. A nitpick of this game's portrayal of history, and a compliment about this game's portrayal of history. So, the take that is probably, additionally, thank you, we hail hydrate. I am drinking Russian Caravan tea with its lovely smoky flavor. And so we drink. So, controversial thing, about the time period. is, well, the Bruins were so early. But about the Salme burials. I mentioned them a little bit earlier. They are from the middle of the 8th century, found on the island of Saaremaa in Estonia. And they show a mass grave. In fact, let's actually click over there and let's look them up, because they are useful. They are absolutely wild. First half of the 8th century, so a little bit before this period. But they are really, really really impressive ships. Right? The finds from inside the ships are surprising. Remains of 7 men were recovered, together with fragments of several weapons, including swords. There is a second boat that is even bigger. Oh wait, this is a different... Oh yeah, no, this is the right one. A second ship find had over 10 individuals, making it one of the only recorded Norse mass graves. Now, genetic work on them revealed that these are largely one family. There were actually 4 siblings who all died on this expedition and were buried together. But Neil Price proposed, semi-jokingly, that we could use this with a reference to the Norse sagas. Specifically in England saga, where there's a King Ingvar. In this period it is Ingvar, later it will become Ivar, that dies in the Baltic. And so he proposed, half-jokingly, to a room full of people, of which I was one of them, that these burials were that of King Ingvar. Now a friend asked me later, was like, hey, I don't do Fortnite Sur. Asked me, and another person was like, do you actually think that these are Ingvar? Inglinga Saga Ingvar. The King of Sweden. Oh, stop it. Ingvar. The son of King Eystein. Right. He went ravaging to the Oysterreir, the East Country, and a place called Stein. They came down to interior with a great army, and King Ingvar fell. He was buried close to the seashore under a mountain Aaaaaand, and after this defeat, the Swedes returned home. This king, right here, was like, hey, is this the guy who was buried at the Salme ships? And so yeah, my friend asked me and another friend who were there, what do you guys think? And we're like, sure. Neither of us actually have strong opinions about whether it is literally him, but why not, right? It doesn't matter. The nice thing about using these sagas to reinforce archaeology is that to some extent, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's useful, right? It solidly could be, right? Like, legitimate, no joke. If we are accepting this as being primarily based in legitimate historical traditions, and not primarily made up, then it, no joke, could be. We can't get more confident than could be, and we'll never answer more confidently than could be, but it doesn't matter. And the reason why it doesn't matter is that it makes for a useful story, right? It makes for a useful story to make people care about both the sagas and the archaeology from an academic perspective. And from a cultural heritage perspective, it gives something really concrete for the people of Saaremaa to attach to with their defeat of the Swedish Vikings and therefore being better Vikings than the Vikings were. It's a fairly harmless use of cultural heritage, but like it's a useful past, and drawing that link is both in terms of academic outreach and in terms of cultural heritage useful, and so literally I'm cool with it. Not everyone's going to be cool with it, but yeah, I'm cool with it. So much for the spicy take. To which end, we then have another ice cold take. The ice cold take is, I think, the idea that these people largely know what's going on, right? Even in the earliest days of the Viking phenomenon with raids in England, Norse people broadly know what's up. Like, they know what they're raiding, and they know that there is a lot of wealth. In terms of what is the actual motivation for it, I would say it's uncontroversial to say it's far too complicated to sum up, and the ice cold part of the take will end at that. If we really want to get technical on the ice cold as in a stupidly wrong bad take, I would say the theory of the Viking phenomenon that can be summed up as they got cold would be solidly ice cold, right? Pun is fully intended there, but it's not at all accepted now that it is a primarily climatological reason that draws the Danish people and the Norwegian people all grouped together under the term Danes, potentially in Old Norse and definitely in Old English, and in Old English further, the Heohanos, to England. Hello, Leofrich. We then need a nitpick and a compliment. A nitpick, such as it is I think on this character art. This character art feels a little bit uncanny to me. And additionally, seems to have what I would call cosmetic chainmail. Chainmail is of course the primary elite armor of this period, known in Old English as a byrnia. But this looks like cosmetic Halloween costume chainmail, and so it's a bit funky. I will say I do like that they're showing heavily bearded... No! Actually, no, I don't like that. I was going to say that I like heavily bearded versus not all bearded, but then I remembered that the laws of Ina still do very much encourage beards, and it seems like in this period, for the pre-conquest English elite, wearing beards is still very much a thing, and so we should actually not be seeing so clear-cut of a fashion difference. Yes. Thank you, Wolfie, for the gifted subs to Orkboy and to Barrymike, coming up to 388 gift subs total given in this channel. The support is, as always, deeply appreciated. Make that 389. Now, this idea, the compliment half of this, is that the idea of the King's Champion is actually quite well attested in Old English literature. The clearest example is in Beowulf, where there is both the coast guard that Beowulf runs into, and then the steward of the hall. The coast guard, I think, is the better comparison here, who when Beowulf rocks up onto the shores of Denmark, definitely Denmark, we promise, near what is probably Gamaleila, the Coast Guard rides up and says, "Halt, I am the King's Champion, it's my job that if I think you're here to do violence, to fight you off." And he just, like, rocks up solo onto a ship full of people and is like, "Yeah, I will fight you." And then he looks at them and is like, "You're awfully well dressed. What's your deal? You're not common pirates. What's going on?" And then Beowulf explains his thing, and he gets sent on his way. So, this idea of the King's Champion being the person who first rides out to meet a group of arrivals is actually probably... It's certainly attested in a literary context, and so we can reasonably postulate a real social context attached to it. Hooray. Hello. Cadman. Well, I suppose I realized when I took the King's Penny to fight the wild men. Okay. Another Cadman's son. Uh-huh. Round belly and red of cheeks. Welcome, Norseman, to my excellent stop. Amazing. Good lord. That's a great question. Why is there blood at the base of the tree? Someone left an ox's head there last night. Well, that's probably not great. That's probably not ideal. Just a feeling. I just have a feeling. But yes, Cadman is from this area, isn't he? Oh dear. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, 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 no. No, no, no. You can't do this to me. Game! West Hall. Game, you don't think you're actually gonna get away with this, do you? Chat, do we know? Do you know what the trick is that I thought that I don't want the game to get away with? It's pretty easy to spot. I tried so hard to be sneaky. And by so hard, I mean not even slightly. So I think this is a case where the modern city of York may have gotten in the way a little bit. Northumbria, yeah, at Whitby. Perfect. That is exactly what I need to see. Thank you for locating it. If he's at Whitby, and then I believe it comes ends up at Lindisfarne. Uh-huh. Without the Russian Baldred. Uh-huh. 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 A white glove. Uh-huh. Anyway, I've gotten totally lost. Where were we? I got distracted by, the premise of chivalric favors in the 8th century. Oh, right. The walls. It thought it could get away with it. It cannot. Are those crenellations on the walls? They sure do be. Those sure do be crenellations on the walls. Cause, yeah. They were just like, you know what would be perfect? If we used a really crappy imitation of the modern city walls of York as part of this. I mean, I think that's actually 100% what it is that the modern walls of York are simply too famous to ignore. Because there's a massive restoration work in the 19th century on them, to the point where the Archbishop of York actually sues the city for trying to destroy them, and instead turns them into this lovely, lovely 2-mile loop. They are extremely lovely. I have walked around them not that long ago, and it is nice. But they are extremely distinctive, with often fake crenellations incorporated in, and then these massive gatehouses around. Right? So, I mean... Now, there's just one tiny problem. In this period, the crenellations have very little to do with, or the layout of the walls has very little to do with the modern layout. And crenellations are just not a thing. So in this period, they're probably not even stone walls. It's probably a palisade. No, scratch that. That's objectively untrue. I know that's untrue. It's probably repaired with palisades. We don't know much about what's going on with the walls in this period, but we do know that there's an Anglian tower, and just up the street from this. This is the Roman multi-angular tower. It is probably one of the most famous things in York. The Anglian tower is this one, then. Right. It doesn't look like this. It's much smaller. It's about, like, I'd say half this size. But, you know, up this way, you get that, and then if you keep going, you end up at York Minster. This is York Minster. This is a very bad rendition of York Minster, but you know, it is York Minster. And yeah, then we have square walls, square walls, square walls, square walls, square walls over here. Perfect. So one thing it is doing is it is preserving the Roman fort layout, even though the city is rapidly expanding, and the walls will be expanded in the Middle Ages to incorporate the other side of the river. Right, there's a gate right here. I think. Rectangular tower, we go down from that. I believe there's another river over here that it should also run down. So the walls will expand out from the multi-angular tower, so they're way up off the map here, and then etc. Right? But we ask another free nitpick for you with this is this town isn't Roman enough. There's a few hints of it, right? We get like this bit of wall, bits of walls that are supposedly Roman. But, yeah. This town is not Roman enough. It's likely, while the major, while the major Roman building, the Principia, I believe, is underneath the church already by this stage, there still is a lot of, Roman materials that are being reincorporated into buildings, and so it's relatively common that there would actually potentially be full stone houses in Roman styles still intact, even as late as here. I don't think it's super duper likely, but you still see the stone incorporated into a lot of works. And now we get the not at all suspicious Aaaaaand II. And the only slightly less suspicious Bishop Aaaaaand. Uh-huh. To politically inconvenience. Right. Quick word, if you please. Okay, chat, I thought for a moment it was playing Pokeball's Cannon at me, and I was very confused. It is luckily not doing that, but I thought it was. Hell yeah. I do need to swap out my squad, because my squad is not well built for this, but, you know. That's fine. It is easy enough to swap around our squad. Though, we may have some trouble with it loading, if we're not careful. Oh hey. Oh hey, is he attempting to overthrow? Uh-huh. I take it you're trying to overthrow the king? You're dressed in purple. That's usually a sign of something. Oh, for God's sake. Are you going to, like... Where are you taking us? Seriously. Inside the Multangular Tower. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? You're an alderman under Aaaaaand. Uh-huh. Sorry, another. Our former king, Aaaaaand, first of his name. He was supposed and exiled a decade ago. Uh-huh. What will His Majesty think when he sees this? Yes, Shalefrith. Fine. My squad needs to mostly back up, because my squad is not... Oh, heck. My squad is not built for this fight. This could get really ugly really fast. What are your weapons? Do you have a spear right now? It is unclear to me what he has. He has a bow. He has a bow and a spear. Okay. Dang it. I thought it was less open than that. Ow. Nice, we got the block. Luckily, none of my squad is planning on moving, so I'm not too worried. Dang it, resisted the stun. That's bad. That's fine. If I can get that hit.
And I've earned a runestone.
Perfect. Then I can heal.
Need a hand?
Good one, thanks.
Sacrament. Oh boy, this is a slightly rough position for a fight. TBH. Okay, it broke his shield. That's something. I guess that's it for the turn? I guess that's it. Ugh. Ranging shots bad. That's very dangerous. And you're trying to run away to scatter shot. Why? Then you're gonna be shooting from a massive distance. Heck. But you're not running in. Well, he's not dead, so that's... scratch that. He's super dead. Dang. Well. Tried. This is not going super duper well. I gotta get this stun, because otherwise it's too dangerous to do what I want to do, which is that.
That hit deserves to be commemorated in verse.
That's a good combo. You're gonna run heal you.
Much obliged.
You're going to and then stand here. You're going to go over here and heal you.
May the Lord watch over you.
That should
Awesome,
stabilize me? Question mark? We're going to pretend that that's stabilized. Did I get another? Yes, I hit the other attack. Oh, thank God. That was massive. That was enormous. Perfect. One multi-angular tower fight. Ow. Jerk. Oh, cool. You chose to heal instead of doing anything useful. That's great news. Ow. Quick shot from 9 miles away? Seriously? Alright. You do you, I guess. Dead. Nice. You are going to heal you.
I can help.
And then go stand in the corner.
Very good.
Then he can stand in the corner. You can buff up my people. Charge. Dead. Step up, because that's going to make things more useful. I think the play here is just run up and force them to disengage, because these are the last two people. So if I can force them to do anything, that's great. So Kete can go this way, and you can go this way. So now if he moves, he's going to be in just a bunch of trouble. Should leave all of us in good condition. Beautiful. Good. You switch to spear. Ah, you have so much block. What are you doing with so much block? Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. Guaranteed kills. Guaranteed blocked, guaranteed not blocked. That was a good situation for a fight, honestly. That's a fun encounter. The combat in this is genuinely very fun. If you like SRPG combat. If you don't, nothing's gonna make it enjoyable. But, you know. Oh, Crucible Steel Sword. And a Crucible Steel Spear. Mostly just the sword. He would have been good if it weren't for the fact that he had like no HP. Well done. That was something. Rest in peace, Cadman. Another man named Cadman. I mean, I understand that we don't really have all that many. We have some. We have a decent number of Old English names. We don't have that many Old English names. But they have used Cadman like 4 times. Anyway. Crucible Steel Sword. Crucible Steel, also known as Damascus Steel, is made up from probably, well, it was probably originally created in India, and the technology moves in Damascus, and then from there to Francia.
The house of the Lord, in all its splendor. Does this not inspire you? Here I feel his presence more strongly than anywhere else.
How are they doing this church? Well then, it's a church. It's a church. But yes, they move that. That technology, pattern welds, softer and harder irons to create something really good for the period, though outclassed by the time steel making using bloomeries shows up, and the blast furnace shows up in the 14th century. Anyway, I don't hate, pews shouldn't be standing room only at this time. Well, of course. It should absolutely be standing room only. But how else are you supposed to know if that it's a church? Right? The 21st century idea of the church as a thing with pews is way too deeply ingrained for us to be able to get away with not having the pews in any context other than a Norwegian stavkirke. In which case we're pretending it's a pagan temple. Apparently. Anyway, we seem to have had a pretty good... Yeah, that's fair. That is reasonable. We've got to raise our reputation before we can access stuff. One would expect that. So yeah, overall, I definitely don't hate how they're doing this. Definitely don't hate how they're doing York here, but I think it certainly is no more accurate than AC Valhalla's. What's that supposed to mean? Uh-huh. Shocking. So, let's talk about that quest, because that quest is wild. That is very, chivalric courtly with a side dose of demons, and the wiles of women. Also known as chivalric courtly. Chivalric courtly is a weird vibe for this period. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Hey look, it's the ooze, I think. I think this is the river ooze. But it's just not at all what I would think of as being in vibe for this period. Like, absolutely not at all. What I would aim for, what I would associate with this period or its literature. Because essentially what it is a very courtly lay tradition wherein the lady who, regardless of morals, regardless of whether or not she is actually good, it's about a 50-50 split, honestly, in the French lays. She would go, give to her beloved some indication of favor, particularly before a big conflict. And it's supposedly inspiring to do stuff. You know, people be horny on me. It's furthermore, favors are given at a moment of engagement as a mark of troth to each other. So that's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 400 years later. That's 400 years later or longer. So it's very weird. It feels very weird and out of place to me in this context. Hey, Oddwolf. Oh boy. Yep. Hang on, I wanna track that one. Let me track that one. Thank you. Tracking. Oh, it's just over here? What's it doing over here? Oh. Someone has appeared. Yeah, take the pressure of chain railing as they are dragged across the ground. Oh. Look for someone west of the river who keeps dogs. Well, well, Emma. Emma. Wait, isn't that a Norman name? Things but man of fear, they barked at the walls like the devil himself was there. Uh-huh. Please tell me more. When it appears all dogs followed howling and bailing, go ahead lays across the threshold of your door, house. Superstitious rebel. Yes, a hellhound. What do you know of the supernatural? Within the city walls. Within the city walls? Within the city... Outside of the church? What is someone doing outside of the... yes. Grim is the early modern name for it. In reports from, like, the 16th century. I think there's, like, one report from the 11th century, but for the most part we're looking at, like, Lincolnshire in, like, the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries. But yes, that's largely what we're doing. Oof. Oof. Down towards the river. Well, yeah, we literally haven't done anything else. Luckily, this is all actually fairly easy to do once you've explored the map first. Alright, so what, chat? What do you think is the naturalistic explanation that they're going for here? Is it just a big dog TM? Ow. It seems to mostly be just a big dog TM. Let's see if we can stun it. Rolls. Absolutely dumpsters. Charge. Go on, one-shot it. Gunnar, Gunnar, go, go, go. Big fight, big fight. Oh, well, I got infected. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. What are we gonna do? Sometimes you just get got. It was rabid. We probably could have predicted this. TBH. We almost certainly could have predicted this, actually. But we didn't. Wow. There's so much damage attached to that. Well. Got someone who specializes in crafting, don't I? You. Artisan and armor smithing. Beautiful. A lot of people, a lot of things here. Let's take a look here, what makes sense. What else makes sense for you to get? All of that, all of that. Point blank, opportunist. Strider? Nah. Thick skin. And then Strider. You're already there. Perfect. More melee damage. Sounds awesome. You I haven't done anything with. Good lord. This is unrelated to what's going on, but you've been wondering what Norse opinions about gay people and such. Not good. Let's be honest. Not good. So... realistically, right, it's fairly difficult to fully identify because the laws are not extremely clear. But there are some law codes that specifically talk about the treatment or punishments for what they considered need or some similar act of unmanliness, also called erki. It's a problem, as one might guess. Where is my, like, heal craft? That's alright. So, in terms of actual straight-up law codes, it was being a bottom was considered extremely bad for you. And like a great way to get yourself into a lot of trouble. Right. As in outlawry. Law, like legal punishment and exile and getting yourself murdered. So, if you gotta be a top, and that makes it better, which is a take, but yeah, that is how it exists in the law codes. That being said, it is naturally way more complicated than that, because, as it turns out, it is clearly also almost aggressively, the mythology is almost aggressively gay, and there is just clearly a lot there, that suggests that In fact, the social mores and customs around it were much, much more complicated than the law codes themselves suggest. Like, you can't exactly read this mythology and walk away thinking, oh yeah, no, they're super homophobic. In some ways, very much are, but it is an extremely complicated subject with a lot going on all the time. And so, right, okay, Loki is, right, Odin, where does traditionally female social roles when he's not doing war. The Valkyriur are gender transgressive. Loki is extremely trans. The BJ581 burial might be, right, has been proposed as a counter-explanation to, oh yes, female warrior, 100% confirmed, is, well, what if trans? Right, what if this this person with biologically female sex characteristics is actually trans? Makes a lot of sense. There are other cases that also look like that. Oh, security, that's fine. Ooh. And so, yeah. That is a very rambly answer. But our law codes tell us one thing, and the rest of it tells us another one. So, you know. That makes it difficult to say one way or the other what exactly is going on. Gonna preserve things, we're gonna guard, and, you know, no, we're gonna rest, then we're gonna guard. Perfect. Perfect. You're disgruntled. Well, that's unlucky. Just be less bad. Does two hitmen still have shifts available? Huh. Who else still has them? Like, guard. Oh, duh. I got someone else. It'll warn me if there's a problem. Nope, that is not who it is. Because a couple people got things, right? And Nepia still has one. Gotcha. Cannot be performed by injured characters. Okay. That is fine. Let's make camp. It's been some expedition. Do you expect all this? It's been better than I thought. That is true. Aww. Adorable. Adorable. Hooray! And everyone gets fully rested. And everyone's healed. And so we are all set. Perfect. So, I think on that adorable note, shall we conclude? Shall we conclude by burning down the church? Morkant, you don't want to be here for this. Just trust me. You don't want to be here for this. We are going to burn down the church. Because what else are we supposed to do? It is, after all, one of the prominent features of the Viking Age that we burn down church. Oh. Wait. Like Cuthbert? Like Cuthbert? West Hall will come out of the Church of St. Wilfrid. Perfect. We can burn down the church. I'm going to assume this is not St. Cuthbert, because I think he lived earlier than this, didn't he? Let me check. He lived earlier than this. He lived 100 years earlier. We're fine. Also, he's from Lindisfarne. So, you know, he's not from St. Wilfrid's. He's from Lindisfarne. So we're not breaking history. It's fine. But St. Cuthbert is, you know, an extremely important figure in English, well, I don't know that historiography is the correct term, but certainly in religious traditions. Boo. I just want to shoot somebody. Gonna do that. Oh, spotted. And now I'm gonna try and shoot him twice. Dang it. Dang it. It's weird that it's so quiet here. Oh, I did 999 damage. Let's just drop and stab him. Stab. And then we can charge this guy. Beautiful. Donations. Yeah, but Melrose is associated with Lindisfarne, so that's fine. It's not like it's... Alright, there's a little bit of wherein that's nitpicking. We swap back to this because I actually want to try and run up here. And then... Alright, that's a full action. That's alright. We're just going to do this. Exposed. Which lets Cat land the double shot. Hopefully. Beautiful. Well, goodbye, Cuthbert. This is fine. This is fine. It's weird that this is so silent. I'll be honest. It feels very strange. Oh well. This is going well. I think this is going well. Oh good, you're more interested... Ow. You're more interested in stunning than you are in, doing intelligent stuff. Dead. Cat. Okay, you're stunned again. That's fine. I should have done the shield hook. Oh well. And then we shoot him. If we crit, then we're done. And if he blocked it, then we'll heal up Nepia so she does not get injured yet again.
I can fix this.
No,
Thanks
no.
for the help.
Early medieval North Britain, look, you are absolutely allowed to be going for nitpicks here. Like, I am not bothered. It is fine. Just know that, right,
You'll feel that one for a while.
like, Melrose and Lindisfarne are only to the expert, things that are actually super different. Anyway, we just did violence. We just did mass amounts of violence. Notably, unlike AC Valhalla, we are actually allowed to, you know, kill. Really? Not a single thing. Alright, we're gonna burn those down, Great, great. 10 out of 10. And now that we've killed everyone, we can just, like, steal everything that we can. It's not nailed down, it's ours. A bunch of this, however, is nailed down. And I gotta say, well, I always want more color, because I always want more color. Overall, I do really like these wall hangings. Oh, come on. You say like it's even that bad for our souls. Look, it's nothing that a baptism won't solve. But look, the three wise men, and a very, very orthodox Jesus. Like, I'm not alone in that, right? That's a very orthodox Jesus, right? It's a well done Jesus, it feels orthodox. Which, this is early, so, you know, way earlier than the actual Great Schism. But if it is trying to use more, Byzantine models as, like, a relevant thing, I'm happy about it. 'Cause, yeah. Why would I not be happy about it? It would further emphasize those connections across the medieval world, going from England to Byzantium, or farther. And we should feel good about that. Very few of these are good. I don't like any of these. Let's try and keep moving, see if we can unlock another one. Up there. Perfect. We're gonna do one more up here. Ooh, that roadside one's very bad. It said St. Wilfrid's. So, whether or not that's a real church, I don't actually know. I do not have an expert map on early medieval northern England, as it turns out. Kind of shocking, I know. Heal. Great. How many things do I even have? I still have 31 herbs. Okay, I do need to pay attention to that a little bit, but... oh crap, no one's able to do hunting. You're gonna go hunt... you're gonna go hunting. You're gonna go hunting. And then you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna... and you are going to do witchcraft, and then... you're gonna go hunting. No one's going scouting right now. Atis has no ranks in scouting to do. I see. I see. Scouting, hunting, please, cleaning. Hunting, that. Scouting. You have no ranks in it, but we'll do it anyway. Scout it. Nope. I guess we'll do that then. See if you happen to get anything. You're not able to do a lot, so you're just going to be a guard. And then aid this. May as well scout. And may as well guard. Perfect. Grimnir! Hello! Repound Cathedral is dedicated to St. Peter and St. Wilfred. Amazing. Hey, look! Hey, guess who we just ran into? Hey, guess who we just ran into, chat? A man with shaded eyes named Grimnir, with a hat and a long beard. Botmaster God in One. This is 100% Odin. His name as Grimnir is attested in a whole bunch of sources, most famously the 9th century poem Grimnismal, i.e. the sayings of Grimnir. Now, admittedly, the story of Grimnismal is annoying because it is very much classical myth trolling, because there is a bet that between Odin and Frigg that he can go to this king's place and deceive him, and she warns. Frigg then appears to this king and warns him, hey, someone named Grimnir is going to show up, and he's a threat and you should totally imprison him. And so he does, and he locks him up and hangs him in between two fires. Hi, Karabachi. And the king's youngest son is the only person who's not terrible to this prisoner tied up in between two fires, so he's being very toasty. And so Grimnir passes on a whole bunch of wisdom about the organization of the world, and at the end gives a long list of his names, including that he is Odin, and then blasts everyone else except this kid. I'm not Norse, nor is this land my home. I come from a land far away from here. And the east by any chance? In the east, right? Well, of course you do, you're right to believe. The gods exist. There's no doubt about that. The question is what form they take. What is the nature of their existence? There are certain stories that are told everywhere. No! Chat! Chat, help me! I wasn't ready! We were doing so well! There are certain stories that are told everywhere, through all ages. These stories use certain figures, personalities that we instantly recognize because they are constants of the human experience. The mysterious wanderer, for example. Or the virtuous but naive hero too good to survive this world. The kind, pure virgin. The dumb and brutish yet loyal and honest warrior. And of course we must never forget the trickster. These are the gods. They live in us and in our stories. They are reflections of our world. The ruler is an important figure. From culture to culture, some figures such as the trickster change very little, but the ruler often changes quite a lot. How the regent of the gods is portrayed can teach us a lot about how a culture sees the role of a leader. In our tradition, the Allfather is not somebody you can rely on. His obsession with knowledge, with power, makes him unpredictable. To Odin, honor must not stand in the way of expanding his power and maintaining the safety of his people. In a culture that values honor almost to the detriment of all else, that is interesting. What can we learn from this? Who gave Young a time machine? Let's talk about that after we finish. The question, chat, what do you actually think we can learn from that? Because especially in the later... I have thoughts about this, but, right, even in the earliest material, Odin is deceptive and transgressive, and does things that a good ruler theoretically a good ruler, as expounded upon by the Saga Corpus, theoretically ought not do. Right? Like magic. And disguises. Right? So, obviously there is a bit of a diachronic issue here, in that Odin's meanings change, right? Odin in the 14th century is not Odin in the 8th. Right? And so obviously there is some change over time happening. And so the answer to this does depend on when we are. We have no written sources from the turn of the 9th century. We have no poetic sources from the turn of the 9th century. So, we have some picture stones from Gotland as our evidence to indicate what that might mean for the people in this exact moment. But, certainly for us in 2000, whenever this game came out, I think there's a few other things. All of these answers are, I think, true. This is, I think, the one that becomes the most true in the later period, right? Never trusting those with great power is because the reason why I'm suspicious of this is that in the legendary saga corpus, or corpora, then it is pretty much the case that abandoning Odin is what pisses him off. And so maybe you don't trust him, but also you can't not trust him, because if you ignore his advice, he will personally make sure bad things happen to you. And so you kind of don't have a choice but to trust him. On the flip side, if you do trust him, you end up like Eir Skallagrimsson, renouncing him as a bitter old man at the end of his life, because his faith in Odin did not protect his sons from dying of disease and shipwreck. So, perhaps it is as you say. I will not tell you what I think. What's important is the meaning that you yourself derive from the stories. Let it help you decide where you fit into the grand scheme of things. Thank you, Grimnir. So, why did I freak out about that? As people noted, Grimnir was telling the stories of the gods as archetypes. Archetypes are a concept described by Carl Jung. And he is a psychologist, a student and friend of Sigmund Freud, though they had a falling out in the 1920s, I want to say, 20s or 30s. He proposes this idea known as the collective unconscious. And in the collective unconscious, the idea is a person has this upwelling in mythology of universal human instincts. And so parallels between stories are due to them both representing the same human urges. So, as Sigmund Freud argues for dreams on the individual level, Carl Jung argues for mythologies on the cultural level. And, in fact, on the universal human level. This is wrong. As it turns out, that just isn't how it works. But you will still see in Norse religious studies, some people do actually use Jung as a framework for interpretation, and the upwelling of images in dreams as a framework. Largely, these are some European universities will do this, very few American universities will, but it is still something that at least sometimes shows up. Still though, I don't think we're going to get a better ending than that, with the game going completely off the rails by not only making the gods naturalistic, but making them Jungian. So, I think that is largely a great place for us to wrap up this playthrough of Expeditions Viking. Obviously, I think there's a lot more that could be done. Let's be honest, I think there is quite a lot more that could be done. There is a lot of game left. We have until September, right? It is currently March, or it's currently April. And we have until September. Oh, 789. Yes, right here. This is Hadrian's Wall. It is cute. So, on that note, let's click over to the end and, yeah. So, final thoughts. I do deeply enjoy this game. I'll probably be playing it on my own time. It does some nice work in adapting a plausible Viking Age literary narrative style and milieu into the quest structures of CRPGs. I think it works really well. I think it's a really good historical setting to be playing that sort of thing in. Obviously, it has some weird takes. I don't love how it's obsessed with making, trying to strike this balance between what we recognize as historical, namely naturalistic logical cause and effects, and what people in the period perceived of, with a lot of elves and dwarves and monsters and ghasts and gods. Right, I don't love that. I don't think they navigated that particularly well. They a little bit tried to have their cake and eat it too, and I don't think it quite worked. I also think the fact that pretty much all the requirements kind of go back and forth into violence as the primary thing you're setting up for is not wrong for the period, but I think they do sometimes end up overstating the amount to which there's a lot of just attend your friends' feasts as your big thing that you do. Give them presents. But, you know, it kind of works within quest structures, so whatever. I am not too bothered by that. Overall, I'm actually very impressed with how they're doing it, and how they're portraying the Viking Age. And so, you know, good historical game. But not in the habit of creating big reviews, and of, like, ranking things in that way. But, you know, I think this series has shown it definitely does some interesting work in its portrayal of very early Viking Age Denmark, and the way it's playing with saga narratives as a tool of telling that story. So, without further ado, we will then wrap up. So, thank you. The names on the screen listed here are to our Patreon supporters. Words are hard. If you want to join it, follow the link that I just dropped in chat, and for as little as $2 a month, you'll be able to help support the stream, and really, up to $25 a month, where you can make me play your favorite historical game. So, if you want to help make sure this content keeps on happening, that's the best way to help support me. But big thanks, as always, to those who followed, joined in chat, and subscribed or gifted subscriptions through this. Your support is appreciated. It is dearly, dearly welcome and important. We'll be back on Tuesday. I think we're going to go right back into Kingdom Come Deliverance again, and then we'll save Steel Rising for later in the week. But the schedule will be up on the Discord tomorrow probably, so I'll decide by then. Until then, I hope you all have a good rest of your weekend and a good night, and yeah, thank you all for tuning in.